What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover podcast. Yes, this is the topical podcast that you can get anywhere from iTunes to SoundCloud, and yes, even in video form on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about New York City and all the things that you can do in it. Living in New York City from a native me, and of course my lovely co-host, Nikki over here, who is taking in place from our usual co-host, Yvonne, who is currently away. Yes, Yvonne is away in Turkmenistan, unfortunately, and probably forever. It seems like it because I've been managing this YouTube channel by myself, and of course the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. You can go check it out. But Nikki, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast
Glad
venture.
to be here, vaguely to the left of my bedroom.
Yeah,
it's good to come in to another room in the apartment.
Well, hey, we live together. It's a thing. So anyways, Nikki, we're going to be talking about living in New York City. Of course, I'm a New York City native, and you are a...
transplant, vaguely native. Originally born in New York.
Well, hey, yeah,
Live in New York now
not
for
New York
over
City,
5
of
years.
course.
Yeah, I've lived in New York City for 5 years now.
But I've lived in New York City
His
for
whole life.
my entire life, except for the...
College years.
the 10 months out of the year that you'd spend in college and whatever.
When he met
per
Yvonne,
year,
so...
4 years.
Take
Where
that
I
for
met
what it's
Yvonne,
worth.
yeah. But yeah, I love New York City. But first, of course, we start this podcast. And of course, hold on. You can write a iTunes review for us on iTunes. That would be really incredibly useful for us.
Help them out.
Really helps with our visibility. I wrote one for myself and Yvonne. And
I'll write one
for
soon
some
if I
reason
haven't
that
already.
does not show up. I don't know how to see them. So I don't know if I actually submitted it. It might be a little more confusing than it sounds, so it might take you a little more than 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that, but maybe I was drunk when I did it. I don't know. Anyways, Nikki, we start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming, whether it be books, music, TV shows, movies, or even the occasional video games, considering our YouTube channel is called Hungover Gaming. Where we play a lot of video games.
Ooh, look at that sweet Long Island action.
Where? Oh, it's the
the video.
You're talking about the video.
I can't help it.
Are listening to the audio portion, you should be checking out the video. There is some sweet drone footage in the background. But yeah, Nikki, what media have you been consuming, and what did you drink last night?
So, as we're recording this, it's the week that Kesha dropped Rainbow. And
The exact date is the 13th of August. Of course,
and
it's
she
gonna be
dropped
coming
the
out
album.
maybe weeks after. Who knows?
Dropped the album on the 11th. I have had it pre-ordered. I am a huge, huge fan of Kesha's.
All right.
Loved her music since the days of autotune.
That's it.
He's been tortured by me and Yvonne in a car, forcing him to listen to Kesha. But I'm so happy for her to be back.
God.
I'm
glad
loving
she's
Rainbow
back too.
as somebody who has had some unfortunate life events. Listening to her music, it's super healing. It feels right. I want to dance. It's so good. I'm so happy she's back. Fucking girl can sing. So yeah, I've been just jamming to Kesha. I'm listening to a lot of different poppy kind of emo-y music right now. That's just where I've been.
Okay. What sort of artists?
Oh, I've just been heavy into Panic at the Disco and
Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, just I'm reliving a little bit of my early days, just feeling things that make me feel, like a teenager again, good or bad. That's where I'm at. TV-wise, we've been watching the Yu Haka show. That's where we are, because we're weebs. One of us more so than the other.
All right. It's true, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not Asian. He's at least Asian. I've got no claim to this. YouTube-wise, I'm always bopping around. I like
Hungover Gaming.
Yes, I'm watching him because I love his face. Look at that face. That's a good face.
Watching any of our videos. No one watches our videos.
I watch them from time to time.
Yeah.
From time to time. I do. I pop in, see what you're up to, because I hear it happening. So sometimes it's hard for me to listen because I've already heard half. Yeah, I've already heard half of the episode.
Of course.
Because our bedroom is right off of this room, so I hear everything he does all of the time. And then YouTube-wise, I'm always just bopping around, watching whatever, from makeup to DIYs. I don't really have a specific genre that I sit in.
Did you tell us who your favorite YouTubers were last?
Well, last week I was talking to. Last time I was talking about. I was watching a lot of Dan and Phil.
Right.
I've caught up on all of their content.
Wow. You're one of those.
I'm one of those.
One of those people who like, oh shit, I just discovered them.
Gotta watch
10 years
everything.
in. Gotta watch all of their content.
It's true though. Apparently, Amazing Phil's been on YouTube since 2006, and oh boy, are those videos cringy AF.
I'm not fucking kidding. I'm not fucking kidding. I know.
So yeah, I've caught up on their videos. I've moved on. I've been watching a lot of like just random DIY channels. I don't make things myself, but I like to watch other people put in a lot of hard work.
Like Adam Savage, right? Did we
oh
bring
my
him
god,
up
do
last
I watch?
year?
I watch Tested.
Year.
I watch Tested all the time.
What about is that the show that it's not One Day Builds?
Yes, One Day Builds.
Oh,
yes.
That is One Day Builds.
I just watched his one day build of the Excalibur sword.
Okay.
And then I watched all of his Comic-Cons incognitos. I love watching Adam Savage walk around at Comic-Con where people like casually come to him like, "Are you Adam?" And he's just like, "No." And they're just like, because like it gets emotional. Like you see someone like realize that they're talking to Adam Savage, and he's just like, "Shh, don't tell anybody." And it's a little emotional. And I've moved beyond the cat videos, so I'm now watching just human emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a huge consumer of online media. Love YouTube, love the internet, love Tumblr. Twitter is upsetting because America's exploding right now with Nazis, and social it's really media. Sad.
I think YouTube is getting there. YouTube is really getting pretty shitty, but that's why we have this YouTube channel.
It's true. No. And last night we were drinking beer at a 3-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah, that my cousin had a birthday. She just turned 3,
She's
and
the
we
cutest
drank.
Little thing in the world.
What did we drink, Nikki?
We had some
Modelo Especials,
and some Sam Adams Summer Ale with a hint of lemon.
Yeah, a very interesting beer.
I was feeling it.
I thought it's a wheat beer, so if you're into wheat beers, I think this is definitely your cup of tea.
Summer is the time for those wheat beers. This is going to come out in the fall, deep fall, so you're probably
I don't know if there's any time for a wheat beer, but if you like wheat beers, go for this beer. This is just further solidifying the fact that I don't really like Sam Adams. I think I'm a Brooklyn guy.
I mean, Brooklyn Summer Ale is my preferred summer ale.
Or a New York beer guy, because I love New York.
For sure. Sam Adams is not good, but if I had to pick, like, it was better than having just a generic, like, Budweiser.
They didn't have Budweiser.
Exactly. So if I had to pick between a Sam Adams Summer Ale and like a Budweiser,
Sam Adams,
I would have chosen the Sam Adams Summer Ale.
I don't like the
nice
lager. I like the Boston Winter Ale. I think that's what they call it. That one I like. That one I like.
But 10 out of 10 Brooklyn all the way. If you can find a Brooklyn lager, like Brooklyn beer, just the Brooklyn Brewery Company.
They're pretty solid.
You know what I'm talking about.
They're not the best. They're not the best around, but I think it's always just a solid choice.
If you want to throw down like $11 for a 6-pack, Brooklyn.
If you want to throw down $11 for a 6-pack, then go to New York City.
And go to New York City because in Florida it does not cost that much for a 6-pack.
So,
but that brings us into the topic of what
Nikki,
you're consuming.
That's too good of a transition, so I'm gonna completely shut it down and talk about what I've been consuming.
I was gonna say, but that brings us into what you're consuming.
God damn, what'd you say? So anyways, I've been, aside from Yu Yu Hakusho, I haven't really watched anything since last week.
What YouTube videos do you watch?
What wouldn't you like to know?
I mean, you're always in here clicking away.
No, of course. But I'm not watching YouTube videos. I'm watching YouTube videos. So the YouTube videos I generally watch are, I like following the guy that I subscribe to, Maximilian Dude _ I think. Or, just search him. He's in the fighting game community. Just search Maximilian.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite fighting game channels. He's always talking about the up-and-coming fighting games. He gets really hype about them. And he makes videos where he plays one of the most recent fighting games or a fighting game that he's into. And he basically takes one character and he does week ofs. So So he'll do a week of Asuka or a week of Akuma or a week of Ryu or someone
give you a nice
fighting game
introspective
characters.
on that one character, you know, let you experience it.
Well, those videos particularly are just him playing ranked matches online. So if you're not interested in that, then it's not that interesting.
Still interesting.
But
to
if
see
you're
the character.
interested, it's good for that, and I watch it for that reason. But also, what he does is occasionally, when he's trying to build up hype for a video game releasing, like Street Fighter V, he did a build up to Street Fighter V, I think, where he did the Legacy of Street Fighter, where he would play Street Fighter games from olden times. So, and he would also do a retrospective.
Do you mean like Street Fighter 1, 2, and 3? Is that what you're saying?
He played through the arcade version of Street Fighter, which is Street Fighter 1 is a very horrible, convoluted, disgusting game. But it paved the way for Street Fighter 2, which is one of the best Street Fighter games. Street Fighter, the original, came out in arcades, and I think probably on the NES, maybe. But because of how they programmed it, there was incredible input lags. Or sorry, not input lag. You had to be so precise with your inputs. You had to input them. So there's this thing called input leniency in fighting games, where the controller is pulled it reads what you're inputting on the controller at a certain rate, at a certain refresh rate, and it refreshed that controller so quickly that you couldn't input the input that you needed to, like quarter circle forward, so down, diagonally down, and then forward, and then your punch. Right. So you need to input that within a split second in order to do a Hadoken, which is Ryu's signature move. He throws a fireball out. And that's sort of what changed. That sort of is exactly what separates 3D fighters from 2D fighters is the fireball, actually. So in 3D fighters, you have to close the distance between opponents before you can attack. But in 2D fighters, generally, I think almost every 2D fighter, except for like the early ones before Street Fighter, didn't have fireballs, Hadokens. So what you would have to do is so the key thing that Street Fighter implemented was the Hadoken, which is basically throwing a fireball, so now you can attack your opponent from afar. But so Maximilian throws out, he does really cool videos on the history of fighting games, which I really like, and he's been playing fighting games for probably 20 years now.
Fun fact.
Yes.
The anniversary of the original Street Fighter is August 30th, 1987.
Oh, shit.
That is the release day.
Yeah, no, it's 30 years. No, Street Fighter's been celebrating 30-year anniversary.
Street Fighter's 30-year anniversary is happening on August 30th, which is probably past...
No, this will come out maybe that day, if that's a Monday. But
no, the Monday is the 28th.
Okay, so
Wednesday is the 30th.
Okay, yeah. So, well, cool. We'll talk about Street Fighter a little bit more then.
I look it up because
it's coming up.
So I have an August birthday, so I'm a big fan of anything that happens in August. So, Street Fighter is older than I am, which makes me feel good. I like that.
Slightly.
Anything that's older than I am, fuck off. Anything that's older than I am makes me feel good.
No, but yeah, Street Fighter's been celebrating.
Look at that sweet train action. Sorry, I love
I'm
that
actually
shit.
pretty excited about, so again, if you're not watching the video, please
Nikki
watch
gets
it.
hyped
It's
for
on
videos
YouTube.
of New York.
And we've got some sweet drone footage, so it's pretty entertaining. But yeah, Street Fighter's been celebrating their anniversary, 30 years.
30 years
this
year.
year,
That's awesome.
2017.
Congrats, Street Fighter. Good for you.
The first
That's
one
great.
sucked, but Street Fighter 2 was alright.
You gotta start
Third
somewhere.
Strike, super sick, and Street Fighter 4, super awesome, and then Street Fighter 5, so-so.
But you gotta start somewhere.
I love Street Fighter 5.
You gotta start somewhere,
it's
and
so-so.
like build
it's
yourself.
Not that good of a game.
But look, where have they come? Like they started at the bottom, and now they're here.
Capcom was not at the bottom then. But they were definitely on the top when they released Street Fighter 2. Anyways, the point is that I watch Maximilian. I watch Unbox Therapy.
Ooh,
so
it's so
he's
good.
very popular. He doesn't need any
fucking.
fucking.
Is so important because it's like, look at all this fancy ass shit,
too, right?
and then like, you're like, how does this relate to me? And then he'll fucking do a thing on wallets, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
No, he's really cool. I like him a lot.
What up, Lou?
Lou.
Lou.
Sponsor us, Unbox Therapy.
Lou, yes,
totally.
sponsor us.
He can do it.
I
whatever.
love buying things.
He's got a company.
Lou, come on, hook me up.
No, he's cool because, if you don't know, he has fucking 8 million subscribers. I'm pretty sure you know. He unboxes shit and he explains it. Whatever. You see him.
Yeah, we're gonna unbox therapy.
Probably,
like 1 week, we're just gonna open up an episode of Unbox Therapy and talk about it. That's what we're gonna do.
Obscure YouTubers that I actually watch, and he's
Who's
not
the
that
obscurest?
obscure. The most obscure, because I like PewDiePie's videos.
I mean, Pewds is top
I'm
tier,
pretty
though.
sure he doesn't need any more advertisement.
No.
But the first YouTuber I actively and religiously watched videos from was MTG Xerxes.
How's Xerxes doing? What's his subscriber count these days?
Probably in the thousands. Let's check it out.
That's nice. I found a few channels that I've been watching since they had less than 10,000 subscribers. And, like, I really feel proud of them as they, like, advance, you know, and their channels grow and people start following and subscribing. And I'm like, oh, look at you, you know. There's a drag queen that I've been watching since she had about 9,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And now she has about 67K. And I'm like, good for you, Kimberly Clark. So if you like to watch drag queens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
my goal with Xerxes
content.
is to make it to Xerxes level. So Xerxes has 19,000 subs.
What?
Actually,
Good for you, Xerxes. That's
MTG
dope.
Xerxes. Go look him up if you're in a Magic the Gathering one, into chess or Pokemon or Dungeons and Dragons. So this guy, the reason why I started watching him.
We should play Dungeons.
Yeah, actually, we're Yvonne and I, the other co-host, which you may not even know of because you just started watching his channel.
Because this purple hair drew you in. Don't lie.
I know.
Don't
it was
lie.
her. The girl drew you in, right? She's not a permanent member, but she could be. She could be if you want.
If you want me to
tell
be
us in the
around,
comment
I'll be
section below,
around.
etc.
Don't worry,
Tweet
guys.
at us at Gaming Hungover.
Ooh, look at that. Oh, we're getting a sweet view of the West Side Highway right now.
Do you know what that is?
The West Side Highway? That's a pyramid
building. No, what's
building.
that building?
That pyramid building is built by Tishman.
Oh,
I know that
yeah,
because I work in construction.
Cool. We'll talk about that later. The point is, Xerxes. I'll talk about MTG Xerxes, then we'll go to the topic. I swear to God.
I'm sorry, that building
Okay,
is sick
so
as
MTG
fuck.
Xerxes plays Pokemon, or he played Pokemon in 4th Gen, and this is almost entirely this is the secondary reason why I still play Pokemon competitively. First reasons were my friends, and I love them for it. You guys know who you are if you're listening to.
He has amazing friends.
But yeah,
top tier.
So we got into Pokemon. Then I found MTG Xerxes, and he did commentary on his Gen 4 Pokemon games, and then he streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/MTG Xerxes. I'll throw anything I can at him in terms of I should
Dude's
actually
amazing.
subscribe
He's
to
really
him
great. Why aren't you
Twitch.
subscribed?
I get Twitch
You're not even subscribed on
because
mine.
I like. There's another guy avoiding the puddle that I like also, and Maximilian Dude. But
you're not subscribed to Xerxes.
I want to subscribe to. I'm gonna subscribe to him next month. It's fine. But yeah, I really like him. He has really intimate streams where he actually talks to all the people in his streams, because he actually only gets around 50 people watching per stream,
that's an intimate stream.
I think
that's
is
close.
probably the best. I mean, you're still getting people supporting you, and then you can probably address all of them or check into the chat every now and then and talk to people, and because you're still getting people who return to you every night. So I think that would be the sweet spot. Hitting a couple thousand. We have like 18 subs, but whatever. That's the point. That's our goal.
A small
to share
group
us
that comes back regularly.
That's our real
recognize
goal.
usernames. Like that's the dream.
We don't want to be PewDiePie. We want to be MTG Xerxes. Thank you, Xerxes, for all the content.
Xerxes,
and
you're killing
I
the
hope
game, my
maybe
friend.
we
You're
can
killing
collab.
the game.
We'll play some Pokemon. That would be super sick. But anyways, Nikki, that doesn't necessarily transition to the talk of the show. But what you said earlier about expensive beer does indeed transition to the top of the show. What did we pay for this beer? $6.
No. Are you kidding? 6 beers in Borough Park, Brooklyn. Which
How much
is
did we pay?
Middle of nowhere.
It's
it was
not
like
the middle of nowhere.
$9 or $10. Probably $10.
Okay, we paid $10 for 6 beers.
It's
6
the
Modelo's,
debit card
right?
minimum. If you're not familiar,
which you might not even be able to get. Fair enough. In wherever you are.
If you're not familiar,
So.
New York City does this really fun thing where bodegas tell you the limit you can spend to use your debit card.
Now, you call them bodegas, I call them delis, because I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
No, it's you should start calling them delis.
Thing.
I'm sorry, you should be calling them delis.
It's a colloquial thing. If you're not from New York, you probably call it a bodega. It's fine, I got it. I got it.
Well, okay,
Hold
Nikki
on,
spilled
Nikki's
her
gonna
beer.
be right back.
Because she's had too many. But I'll tell you a thing or two about me and my experience with New York City.
Don't worry. I got a towel right here.
Sorry? Anyways, the
it.
point is, so New York City, of course, the greatest city in America. I'm going to throw it out there.
I mean...
Sorry, New Orleans. New Orleans, you're amazing.
What's the most diverse county in the world? It's Queens County. And where's Queens County? In New York, motherfuckers. I got it. It's fine.
I just don't want this.
No, it's not. It's not even close to that.
Oh, wait, you didn't have that much of that.
No,
it's
it was
fine.
literally
So-
like a quarter of a beer. It's
Right,
fine.
so, Nikki, I
Yeah.
guess we should preface this with you...
How long we've lived here?
Well, how long you lived here, where you grew up, and
Yeah, a
etc.
little background
That sort of
about
shit.
me.
And,
A little background about
and
me,
then
guys.
I'll go through mine and
So,
whatever.
my family is originally from New York. My mother grew up in Manhattan. She moved to Long Island when she was about 12 years old. My father grew up in Queens. He moved to Long Island when he was about 12 years old.
Sorry, 1 second.
Sorry.
The talking with your hands and the clapping and that sort of stuff, that's a New York thing.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry if you
I
hear
will.
that
I will
shit
hold my
when
hands
she does
together.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, my parents both moved out to Long Island when they were about 12 years old, and they met and they were friends. And long story short, they had me and my brother.
Uh-huh.
We lived in Selden, New York, until I was 6-ish years old. After that, we moved to High Point, North Carolina. What up, furniture capital of the world? We out. That's where some of my cousins still live. Those guys are great. I love them. North Carolina is a beautiful place. If you want to see idyllic versions of every season, North Carolina is where it's out, for sure. And then when I was about 10 and a half, we moved to Florida. And we lived there until I finished college. So I lived in Florida for 12 years. And that was when I moved back to New York. I told my aunt and my uncle, who live in Baldwin, I was like, get me out of here. I'm done. I want to live in New York. I want to live in the city. I can't stand Florida. And they were like, all right. So I lived with them for a while in Long Island.
Did you say where you lived in Florida?
In Florida, I lived in Spring Hill, which is...
Yeah, so that makes a difference, all right? You might be living in...
You might be living in a real cute spot in Florida.
What's it called?
Boca?
Yeah, Boca
You
Raton.
might live in Boca
No,
or Key West or Miami
what is Boca?
or
But
Tampa.
it's Boca is the short
Boca
name.
is on the shore. It's
No,
Boca
but what's
Raton.
Boca
It's
Raton?
Boca
It
Raton.
is Boca Raton,
Yeah, it's
which
Boca
is also
Raton.
in Colombia.
But nobody
not,
says it like that because the people who live in Boca
it's
are
called
all
Boca.
whiter than I
Yeah,
am.
except for
And-
my cousin. who's
Your
definitely not
cousin's
white.
joke. What up, Seth?
He was adopted. He's not white.
It's true.
Okay.
Anyway, so I lived about 40 miles north of Tampa in a sad little spot in Florida where my grandparents bought us a house because my parents were not
No,
good
that's
at
really
home
important,
ownership.
actually.
It's
Actually,
really
it's very important to say.
My part of Florida is one of the areas that had a massive meth epidemic right after I graduated college.
Okay,
and
I don't know
left.
about that. That's crazy. Jesus
So
Christ.
yeah, so where I grew up in Florida is such a small town that like it didn't even make the news for how bad like
Damn, son.
meth and bath salts were there.
Damn son.
Like, so
Welcome to
Spring Hill,
Boca
Florida
Raton.
is an
Spring Hill.
overgrown subdivision of Brooksville, Florida in Hernando County. And I lived there for 12 years. And I made it out alive, so what's
Right,
good?
Hernando County. That's the bigger.
Yeah, Hernando County. It's Florida is rough. If you're not living in a cute part of Florida with a family that has money, I'm so sorry, and you can get out. I believe in you. And
She got out.
You can do it. Find a way and get out because Florida.
Make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, if
New York
Florida is
City.
hard, and New York City is that. Like, I left school.
So the reason why you left, right?
Yeah, we
Why
talked
did you
about that
come
in the
here?
last podcast. I graduated from the University of Florida in 2012 on May 8th with a bachelor's degree in psychology. And I was like, well, I fucked up. And I moved to New York to pursue comedy. And after a few years of doing comedy, I was like, well, this city is hard. This city is rough and it's unforgiving.
Cheers.
And I appreciate that, actually. I really think that it
And
helps
you've been living here for how long?
I moved here in 2012, June 1st of 2012.
So, and it's 2017.
And it's 2017, so
Look
it's
at that
my
5-year anniversary.
my 5-year anniversary with
Almost.
New York. I've lived on my own in the city since about 2013. I was living with family because God bless having family, because the city, like I said, it's hard. And yeah, so I've had a very unique experience with the city. I had that commuter life for about a year and a half where I was just coming in and out all the time.
Commuting from Long Island.
Commuting from Long Island. I was spending
is...
like 15-hour days in the city where I would work 8 to 12-hour shifts at the community center.
Yeah.
And I would do
and
improv.
Long Island,
and
for people who don't know,
it's far away.
Well, she basically had an hour-long commute.
Hour and a
right?
half,
Yeah,
actually, yeah. Because to get down to Tribeca from Penn Station can be about a 30-minute commute.
And Long Island is actually an extension of Brooklyn and Queens. That's a lie.
An extension?
Extension.
All right, off extension. Of Queens. Nassau County, Queens, and Nassau County, Long Island border. And my family lives in Nassau County. So it's right on that border of Queens and Long Island.
Yeah. So usually when you think of New York City, you think of Manhattan, and that's absolutely not.
It's not all of it.
Well, it's not all of it. It's a big part. I'll give you that, but it's definitely not. It's certainly. I don't think I've grown to think it's not the most important part.
Beer.
I'll get you. Sorry.
I grab a beer.
Sorry.
It's his empty beer.
Sorry, I put the beer back in there. It's fine. Anyways, sorry we're drinking.
Yeah, it's fine.
But you might hear some random things. But, okay, so my experience with New York City is obviously I was born here. I was born in Lenox Hill Hospital, up on the Upper Side. Yeah.
What up, Stony Brook University Hospital? Because I was born in New York, so, you know.
But that's not where my parents lived.
No.
My parents lived in Tribeca at the time.
Before it was cute.
Okay, sure. But we lived in Tribeca in the 90s. So I was born in 91, and I've been living here for 26 years. But yeah, so I grew up in Tribeca and in Manhattan, which is you might now think of Robert De Niro, the Tribeca Film Festival, Jay-Z, it's beautiful, very rich and very nice.
Tribeca is a beautiful
very nice
place.
Neighborhood. It's
we
beautiful.
met in Tribeca, actually. Fun fact. We met at a job in Tribeca.
Right. I mean, we're here to talk about New York.
No,
and Tribeca is a huge part of it. When you think of Tribeca, because
that Coney Island cyclone.
Yeah, that's a thing too. But so basically, I grew up in Tribeca. Then my parents they moved to Soho after that, which is also a very nice neighborhood. I have the great fortune of living in really rich neighborhoods of New York City.
Julien's lived in some pretty, this really nice neighborhoods, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, and this is not. I'm very thankful for that, and this is not
his
because
parents worked really hard to get where they were in life, so it's not to be taken for granted.
Yeah, so my parents, my dad moved here. Basically, my mom's an immigrant. She moved here from Hong Kong, and she met my dad, and my dad lived here since the 70s essentially.
Mm-hmm. Where did your dad's family live before New York?
Upstate New York in Mount Vernon.
So New Yorkers,
so
but not in the city.
My dad's family has been living in New York for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so he moved down to New York after getting a job as a professor here, and he definitely took advantage of the 70s slump of New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved into Soho on Lafayette Street in the 1970s with $15,000.
Such a cool place
Oh,
to
very
live.
well. Now it is.
So
now
cool.
it is.
But even in the 70s,
well,
living
back
in New York
then,
City.
Well, you could say that, but I don't think living in the 70s as a woman in New York City was very fun.
But you're. You know.
And he was a dad.
Your dad was a dad.
Yeah, he wasn't a dad then. Not then. Not yet.
Not that yet.
I have a half sister.
Yeah, Julien's a late in life baby.
Yeah. Anyways, so my dad moved here with $15,000, bought an apartment, a loft in Lafayette Street.
Are you kidding me? A $15,000 loft?
Well, adjust for inflation.
Inflation.
I'm sorry, I drank a lot. No. But adjust for inflation.
We did a drunk play before this. If
nonsense.
You didn't watch it, what are you doing?
And that sort of comes out to probably more like
close to like probably $600,000 or $700,000.
No.
More than that? What?
Actually,
look it up.
you
look
know
it up.
what?
I think I'm right.
Actually, I believe you.
I think I'm right.
I might believe you. I don't know how much that is.
We're gonna one of the monitors we have, which is why I'm looking in a different place than Julien, because I'm looking at the screen that we're on. He's looking at the screen where the camera is. He has a third screen with the internet. So in case you're wondering, if you're watching on YouTube, why my eyes and Julien's eyes look a little... We're drunk, but we're not that drunk.
It adjusted about $96,000.
I was very
right?
off.
So
okay,
so
look
he
at that.
moved. All right. So granted, that's a lot of money. Fair enough.
It's still a very large amount of money, but
he
not...
made a really good investment in that he bought an apartment in New York City, in Manhattan, and then renovated it himself. He renovated himself.
His dad's very smart, very crafty.
Yeah, no, he's he knows basic plumbing. Okay, so he renovated himself, sold it for 3 times the price, and then basically bought our place in Tribeca, sold that for 3 times the price, bought our place in Soho, and then sold that for 3 times the price.
So what you're learning about New York real estate is buy a place
in
make
Manhattan,
it look a little bit nicer, sell it for 3 times as much. White people will buy that. Am I wrong?
Yes, you're not
I'm
wrong
not
that he didn't sell them to white people. I'll give you that, but I don't think we need to talk about race just yet.
No.
Just yet.
Not
I
yet.
think
no,
that's basically
that was a basic joke that I was making. There,
so
that
basically
that's
why well, I think anyone will buy. The Chinese will buy anything too, so it's not necessarily just white people.
Okay,
but,
so the Chinese and the white people are on the same market.
And
buying
absolutely,
everything.
there is a condominium in Manhattan that is almost vacant right now. It's completely done. It overlooks Central Park West, and the Chinese and Russians own a lot of those apartment buildings just because it's apartments. Just so they can hold their money there. So
New York real estate actually has a lot of issues with foreign money coming in and inflating the area costs because they all spend a lot of money.
Well, but that's the politics in New York. Let's not talk about that. So that's where I came to be. I've been living here now. Then when I came back from college, I moved the fuck out of my mom's place because I couldn't live with her anymore. Sorry, Mom. Thanks for watching. But then I moved to Queens.
Which was a great apartment.
Which was amazing. I lived in
great apartment.
I lived in Jackson Heights. It was a lot of fun. We'll talk about Queens later. And then I moved to Brooklyn. After that, I moved to Carroll Gardens. And now I live in Borough Park with my girlfriend here. So that's my experience in terms of moving in New York City.
I was going to say, I didn't even talk about where I lived.
Yeah, right.
I've lived in a lot of apartments. So when I first moved out of my aunt's place, I moved into a place in Greenpoint, which I adored. I loved Greenpoint so much.
It's a cute little neighborhood.
It was a cute neighborhood. My roommate was super chill. What up, Ben?
You should tweet this out.
Yeah, Ben. I don't think he has a Twitter, and if he does, I'm not following him.
You should text it to him. Whatever. I don't know.
But yeah, I lived with a guy who one of my improv friends was living with, and I took over his lease, and I loved that apartment. It was super chill. But unfortunately, I couldn't stay living there, so I moved to Bushwick with a couple of guys. It was not my ideal situation, but the guys were chill. So what up, you guys? Like Matt and Brian.
They're not gonna watch this.
No, they're not.
So we can talk,
I can say how I actually felt about them. It wasn't positive. And then after that, my college roommate, Justin, moved to New York with a startup, and I was like, roommate! So we actually got a place on the Upper West Side. So I went from Greenpoint to Bushwick to the Upper West Side, which was like 5 minutes away from where my work was. And then we lived there for a year, and I was just like, I want to stay here, and Justin was like, I don't. So I moved to a place on Bleecker Street, which was...
With him also.
Yeah, with Justin, which was, you know what you get when you move to a NYU area. It was a converted 1-bedroom. Justin's bedroom was technically the living room. It was really expensive. The street was super loud.
Bleecker Street. This is Bleecker Street in 2016, 2015? 2016? 2015
into 2016. It was super loud. There was a bar and a pizza place like right under our apartment. There was a homeless woman who lived in our building. I got shoved into trash cans. It wasn't my favorite place. So when I had the opportunity to move, I was like, Julien. Yeah. So I've moved to Brooklyn again with Julien. I love Brooklyn. It's a super chill place to live.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so it's loading.
Yeah, it's a super chill place to live. Our neighborhood is really eclectic. I think of it as kind of like my work moved out to Coney Island, so we were trying to split the difference where, you know, we wouldn't be stuck on the train for crazy long, but unfortunately going to Manhattan is a little longer than going to Coney Island from where we are.
I mean, that's enough. I mean,
but yeah, it's a good place. I like it.
We've sort of prefaced our experience, our moving experience.
Yeah.
So for someone who is not living in New York, right? They really think let's say
it's hard to understand what you mean when you say these neighborhoods.
Yes, Bushwick, Greenpoint,
Borough Park,
Borough Park, Sunset
what's
Park.
Tribeca versus Upper West Side
Soho,
or Greenwich
right?
Village? I don't understand.
So
Soho, Greenwich Village,
this city has 5 boroughs. Staten Island will totally neglect and probably the Bronx too.
Trash dumpster.
So we're really talking about here.
The Bronx isn't a trash dumpster.
No,
Staten
it's not.
Island is a dumpster. The Bronx is beautiful.
Never go to Staten Island. So for people who are trying to live here or maybe are curious about New York City, what is your experience coming as a I mean, I don't mean to be offensive when I say foreigner, but
I mean, I'm not a New York City
native, right?
Which your friends made abundantly clear when we started first hanging out. I'm not about that life.
Yeah, so tell us your experience when you first came here towards your
where
opinion
I am
of
now,
it now, and sort of why or
like how I've gotten to where I am.
No,
and,
we already talked about that, but in terms of living here, sure. And then also maybe you could say something about your opinions of the general mannerisms of the people, etc. And living here in life.
I had visited New York plenty of times because I have family here. My best friend went to Barnard, so I was visiting the city the entire time I was in college, the entire time I was in high school. Like, I've been in New York pretty much every year since we left New York. So someone who was not a New York City native but still familiar with the city, I move quickly, I talk quickly, and I have no problem adjusting to speed.
Right. It's no joke. The New York Minute is really fast. That's a real saying. People in this city move fast. They don't want to be.
No,
they
don't
want to waste
us.
any of your fucking time.
Get the fuck off the train.
They don't want to waste any of their time,
doing.
rather. Yeah, so don't get any in their way. Don't just stop in the middle of the street. Stop on the right of the street.
The building as you possibly can. But what I would say as someone who wasn't born here but adopted the city as a second home, I never felt 100% out of place. I always kind of understood a little bit of the mentality of New York because I don't think I ever lost it. Despite the fact that I didn't grow up here, my parents are very much accustomed to coming into the city. They raised my brother and I with a kind of
you're already a loud person.
Right. I'm a loud person. I talk too quickly. I moved to North Carolina and no one understood what I was saying. They were like, "You talk too fast. Your hands are flailing." I'm trying to keep them out of frame right now for your benefit.
We can't talk to to non-Americans right now. We can only speak in terms of our experience.
When he says foreigner, he means someone not accustomed to the city lifestyle.
The city. It's a completely.
You can tell. It's really frustrating when someone from Minnesota comes to New York and they're just stopping in the middle of the sidewalk with 80 bags.
But the thing is, I don't want to say that I don't like tourists.
No,
I don't want to say that.
Tourists are fantastic. They're the lifeblood of this city.
I wouldn't say that.
They make a lot of money for this city.
They do make a lot of money, but there's a lot of money. Broadway. This is fucking New York City. There's a lot of money here. Yeah. But the thing is, it's just, oh my God, what's going on?
Sorry,
the point is, the thing is, it's not that, and we're going off a tangent here. It's not that. You might think that New Yorkers are very mean, but they're just trying to get to where they're going.
We spend a lot of time commuting from point A to point B, and when it gets interrupted, it gets really frustrating.
Yeah, if you want to go over that. So your adjustment to commuting.
Right, and I started commuting. Every day was a commute for me.
So things in New York City, you don't really not insane, if you're trying to be a New Yorker, you don't drive.
No.
So
Do not drive.
And that might
Are
be
you
very
kidding
different
me?
for any Americans that don't live in this city.
Can I tell a small anecdote?
Yeah.
Okay, so recently I went to Chicago
No, you can't.
with one of my friends, and one of the taxi drivers that I had was talking about how she has family that lives in the Bronx, and she drives into the city, and she drives from point A to point B all the time, and she's saying how frustrating it is. And I looked at her in the rearview mirror, and I said, first of all, you're fucking up. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, don't fucking drive when you're in Manhattan. When you live in the Bronx, and you're trying to get from point A to point B in Manhattan, you're driving through that fucking Manhattan traffic, and it's such a bad idea.
Right.
There are
There's a lot
millions of
traffic
people
in the
who are
city.
just trying to get everywhere. So the best way to do it is to just not drive.
Is to
The
take
subway,
the
yeah, the subway can
buses.
have like bad, positive, whatever. Like you can have a bad day or a good day on the MTA. You don't know. But walking, at least like less than a mile, if you're not comfortable walking, I would say half a mile is a reasonable amount to expect someone to walk in New York,
Yeah.
especially in the city. Walking is your best friend. I personally could walk all day and it not bother me. Other people don't like that very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
But, you know, New York is a walk, subway kind of place. So you walk, you take the subway a little bit, you walk some more, you get where you want to be. If you're driving, you're going to get angry. You're going to feel like you've done something wrong, that everyone's messing you up, that your trip was, like, shortened. Because traffic is bad. It's just bad. Like, LA has, like, notoriously bad traffic, but Manhattan is what, like, fucking 6 miles from end to end or something? Like 8
No,
miles?
I think it's 9 miles.
Is it 9 miles from end to end?
I think.
That
might be
9
15.
miles could
I'll
last
confirm
you,
that.
like, 5 hours. Like, do not drive when you're in Manhattan.
But yeah, so
it's just not worth it. Commuting
it's actually
for me was easy.
13.4 miles.
Well, there you go. So
From
you
end to
could
end.
less than 13.5 miles could feel like hours on end because the blocks are short. There are how many people in New York at any given time?
There's 8 million people in the
8 million
city,
people
so-
plus visitors. Like, this city is full. And it is a sad little island that is just doing its best.
Oh,
Walk-
that's Manhattan, right?
Yeah. Walk and take the subway when you can. That is my recommendation.
Well,
as someone
okay,
who commuted
but-
for 2 years, basically.
So I mean, that's commuting, right?
yeah.
So you're gonna
but
commute
if you
a
live
lot.
here, you're not gonna drive.
So what's your I mean, when you're moving to New York City, right? Maybe let's say you got a job in New York City, right?
Right.
Let's say you got a job, you got to move there.
Yeah.
You just got a job at a college or something.
Sure, you got
Or
a
maybe-
startup job, or you got whatever job you have.
Maybe you're immigrating to New York City. So
Yeah.
let's talk about prices, right? This city is very expensive. This is not the most expensive city in America. I think
No.
that goes to San Francisco.
San Francisco by a hair.
in terms of
but it's
real
not
estate.
as hard. It's not as hard to live in San Francisco as it is to live in New York.
Right. So this is so yeah. Of course, California.
It's a
I'm
beautiful
gonna make
place.
a
It's fantastic.
grand assumption here because I've actually never been to California.
I've been to San Diego. My roommate that I lived with for a while
But
was in
California is almost the exact opposite
Mm-hmm.
of the East Coast of America, and specifically New York. We're talking about here.
It's
So-
not fast.
So yeah,
things move
well,
at like
I mean,
a
I
chiller.
don't know that. I can't
no,
necessarily
things
say
move at
that,
a different vibe. Like
Yeah,
it's just,
it's cool.
a
You're just hanging out,
California
man. It's
vibe.
fine. And that's really great, but I don't know, man. I'm not I think the general trend is that a lot of people move from LA or the West Coast to New York, but not many people move from New York to LA
Well,
or the West Coast.
Fun fact. For comedy people and people who
It
are
might
in
be
the
the
industry,
opposite.
it's the opposite. Yeah,
but we
there are
talked
a
about
lot
that
of,
last
yeah.
week. Let's not talk.
I'll say in
yeah.
this very brief bit that I have a decent number of friends who've said I would never move to LA, but here I go, because it's different to get roles.
Oh, yeah,
it's a
Hollywood,
different
man.
process to get like noticed in LA versus get noticed in New York. Because in New York you have to know somebody and know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and if you don't know somebody, But in LA, I
Well-
think you might need to know people, but the process is just a little bit different. Like, it seems more actor-friendly than
I mean,
comedian-friendly.
so we talked about
But we're going to not talk about that this podcast.
We talked a little bit about transport in the city. It's it's actually fairly efficient to get around the city. Generally,
borough to borough, you're doing all right.
You're going to be traveling. So let's say the daily commute to work is generally always going to be 30 to 45 minutes, depending on where you're coming from. And of course, if you're just moving here, if you didn't get a 6-figure job or anything, you're not going to be living in Manhattan or close to your job.
No.
So you're going to be living in the outer boroughs. So if you're just moving here, you're going to be... I was lucky I lived in Manhattan. But even when then, I lived in Manhattan, except for elementary school, I didn't my commute to high school was 40 minutes long.
Yeah, you still had a decent amount of time.
So, because I went to high school in the Upper East Side. Shout outs to Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Let's go.
Central High School, Brooksville, Florida.
No, that's
no
in Florida.
one
We're
shouts
talking
it
about
out.
New York. But maybe
it's
not shout outs to Eleanor
It's
Roosevelt
a generic
High School. Who knows?
School.
Well, I'll send this to them. Maybe. But yeah, so New York, you're always commuting, right? So
it feels
you're
that
always
way.
on the train. The train can be pretty crowded. There's generally AC in the summer, but it can be very crowded.
If you get in that car that doesn't have AC,
depending on what time you're getting on the train. Of course, rush hour extends from 6 a.m. to
10.
I'd say even 10:30. Yeah. I'd say people are trying to get to work.
From 6 a.m. to 10:30, 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's because some people go to work at 11 a.m.
Exactly.
Those lucky bastards.
Those weird
But,
fucks.
of course, this city that never sleeps gets that name for a very good reason, because the subway works 24/7, which is really nice. Which is a really nice addition to the city.
Even though when it's like 4 a.m. and the train is like, I'm not going to come for 30 minutes, you're still like, thank you for coming.
Well, at least you're coming. I'm trying to get home.
Exactly, because always, no matter what time it is, your cost per entrance is the same.
Oh, yeah,
so when you live here and you have a monthly card like we do, it doesn't cost you any more. But some places like the Long Island Railroad, if you try to get on during a peak hour, it costs you more money.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually costs a lot of more money. Like peak on the Long Island Railroad is double.
It's and then specifically for in Europe and also in Asia specifically, there are a lot of public transit systems that
charge
pay
by distance.
Yeah, they charge by distance, which
New York
I think
makes
more similar sense. I think that makes more sense in general.
It does make more sense, but the way it would work out in New York, it would very much jeopardize those people who couldn't afford to live closer to their work, which becomes like a class issue and a race issue, and we're not going to get into that. So
yeah, well, hopefully
for right now, like the cost per ride on the New York MTA is $2.75.
It's a 2017
August
13th. It might be
August 2017.
So
who knows what's gonna happen in a few months because the MTA likes to do this.
It's an expensive city, so it does get expensive.
It does, but
and living in the city, right? Yeah. So what do we pay for rent right now? Right, it's a very expensive.
We actually pay cheaper rent than a lot of our friends.
Yes, this is true.
So where we live in Brooklyn is closer to Coney Island, which if you're watching is on the screen right now, and that's because my work is closer to Coney Island.
Southern edge of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
2
and
hours away from
I'm
anything.
a little princess who has anxiety problems, who can't be on the train for extended periods of time. So Julien, being the good sport that he is, who works in Upper Manhattan, has a little bit of a longer train ride than I do. Yeah. So my train ride is like 35-40 minutes depending on train traffic and derailments, which are a regular thing now. And Julien's is probably an hour to an hour and 20 minutes depending on train traffic and derailments, which we're a thing now.
Apparently.
But I would say from where we live and how long it takes to work, like the fact that it costs us less than $2 a ride because a monthly card, the way it breaks down, if you use it at least twice a day, every day of the month, it's not going to cost you that $2.75 is a great investment, right? Like, who can say that they get to work for less than $3 a day? We get to work for less than $3 a day. Like, that's our
it's
month.
Very nice. Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's a great benefit to have. And our rent is not cheap,
what
but
is it exactly?
Right now, as of filming this, it's $1,700.
Oh, nice.
For a
I didn't
one-bedroom
know.
with an office.
Shit, I didn't even know that.
For a one-bedroom
I
with an
thought it was
office, next month, depending on what happens with our lives, because who the fuck knows, it's gonna go up $75.
Right, exactly. And when you're living in Florida or literally probably
When
anywhere
I-
else,
so
it's
where I-
probably less than 1,000.
Where I was in Florida,
So
Justin
this
and
is a
I, my New
very
York
expensive
roommate that I
city.
had for a while, we lived in a townhouse, which was 2 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms and 2 stories, and it was $535 each a month. So we're talking about $1,070 for a 1,300 square foot apartment.
Yeah, no. Look, you're not.
So you're not gonna get that here for that price.
Yeah, you're not gonna get. It's okay. So
But,
in
like,
terms of
yeah.
living spaces, the city is not the nicest. You can
But
can
this
range.
apartment is great.
No,
This apartment is super solid. I
Okay.
love this apartment.
Right, our apartment I think is very accommodating in
Mhm.
terms of space.
We got very
We have
lucky.
a lot of spaces we can move around in and all that sort of stuff.
Kind of separate
it's not a
out
house
when
or
everybody
anything.
needs room.
It's
Well,
not a house or
it's
anything.
not a house, but it
it's
is
not a two-door.
the top floor in a house. So if you
Right.
were to look at Brooklyn in terms of how the buildings are, it's mostly connected houses.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
we have the top floor in a 2-family connected house. So it's a good space. It's not standard, it's not average. But where we are, this is like how the neighborhood is
Yeah, I
broken up.
think I suggest if you're moving to the city right now and
out.
maybe you don't have enough money to afford Manhattan, because you're going to be looking obviously, and trust me, the prices in Manhattan range from $5,000 a month
Oh my God.
to, or even more.
What
to,
my company builds
to
for is
probably as
insane,
low
so-
as maybe slightly lower than $1,000, right?
Yeah.
But
if you pick the right spot
honestly,
in Harlem or like
you're gonna if
off
you're gonna
the
be
beaten
living in Manhattan
path,
there, you're gonna be living up
at least
in
$1,000
Inwood or Harlem.
At least
So-
$1,000 for a room.
Right. So the city's very expensive, right?
Mhm.
We've exhausted that point. But I think it's really important to know that. Absolutely. You're
No,
gonna be
yeah.
paying at least $800 a month to
Yeah.
live in the
If
city,
you're
just to
lucky.
live, just to pay rent. So, and then that's not to mention the price
Mhm.
of groceries, which can vary a lot, which is great because there are a lot of grocery stores depending
Queens,
where you go.
Queens has some great
I
grocery
wanna,
stores.
Speaking of Queens, I wanted to talk about the different boroughs of the city.
Mhm.
So, I just looked this up on Google. There are actually 800 languages spoken
Yeah.
in this city as of 2010.
Right.
So 7 years from now, which is
Who knows?
2017,
Yeah.
there might be even more, right? So that's a crazy amount of languages.
Right.
So this city is, I don't want to say the most diverse city in the world, but I think it's probably
Well,
off
actually,
their top 5.
Queens is the most diverse city in the entirety of the U.S.
Most diverse.
It's
no,
no
U.S.
Queens.
I mean, that's no question.
Queens, the borough of Manhattan, like the borough of New York, Queens, is the most diverse city.
I mean, there's
in
no,
all
there's
of America.
no question. There's
And
no
that's-
question
that's
in
a
all
cool
of America,
thing, right?
I'm
That's-
saying in the world.
Right.
Right?
No. Probably
So-
not in the world, but in America
I'm saying, yeah. I mean, but there's no question. New York City
is a diverse
is
and beautiful place
is
to
absolutely a diverse place in terms of language,
language,
etc. You're gonna
food.
find what you want here.
Food is so good here.
So yeah, no, absolutely. So, but you do have to travel to get it. You can't just stay in Manhattan.
No.
I think you do.
You
have to travel.
you have to travel.
travel.
Our
So
neighborhood
this
offers
city's
so
huge.
much food.
So there are 5 boroughs, like I said, but and we're excluding Staten Island now because fuck Staten Island. But yeah, so you're gonna range everything from Dominican, Puerto Rican, Chinese,
To
of
fucking
course,
Ethiopian.
Ethiopian.
Have you had Ethiopian food? I have. It's delicious.
Yeah, no, it's great. And Indian, of course, all that
And
sort
then
of stuff.
Italian.
French, Italian.
It's all cool. You could get the
yeah,
classics.
I wouldn't. I mean,
You
it's
could
not,
get like more ethnic. New York has
Right.
every type of food
right.
you could ever
but
want.
so I've lived in technically more boroughs than you have, but
Well, I've never lived in Queens.
and exactly that's what I'm saying. So I've sort of, and I've lived here for 26 years, so I know.
And I've lived here for 5.
Yeah. So
come
I've
on.
known. I know all the spots, right? To say
It's
to say
true.
the
He
least,
has
right?
some good
I know
dates.
the spots.
This kid pulls
I know
out
the
some
spots,
really
so-
good dates.
So the thing about this city is, we try to keep things under wraps, right? You know,
Don't tell people
you
the
gotta.
good spots.
So the most important thing you can do in the city is to talk to people. Talking is your most important ally in this city. So, because people are, if you're just gonna be nice to people, people are totally willing to talk to you and tell you where to go and all those things. And of course, tweet at us if you're visiting the city.
We
tweet
will
at
tell you
Hungover
places
Gaming,
to go. Yeah.
or tweet at me.
Or me.
Jujubees good, JUJUBESGOOD, or
Nikki.
well, I'll put it in the description
Nikki
below.
TV.
Yeah, it's 3 A's or something.
2 K's, 3 A's, 3 Y's TV.
Yeah. So tweet at us, and we'll tell if you're visiting the city. We'll tell you some good spots.
Vegan
to go.
or otherwise,
But,
I know a lot of spots.
she knows the whatever. I don't care about vegan food.
I was
whatever,
vegan for a while, so I know a lot of vegan spots.
Yeah. Okay, not important. But
People care about
to
that.
be fair,
People care about
people
that.
do. I don't care about it, but people care about it in this city specifically. So you'll find a place. But
There's
so
some
go
solid
vegans
places.
or whatever. Live your life. But the point
Hey,
is,
your mom and I like the same vegan dim sum place, and that made me
that's
feel
actually
really
not true.
validated.
That's not true. She's talking about a different place.
It was the same place.
No.
It was the
I
same
saw
place.
the place in Chinatown when I was there, and I know what you're talking about. I know what she was talking about. She mixed up the names. Different place. Point is, and exactly, that's the thing. You can mix up the names and get a different
And you're
place.
still gonna get a good place.
But I assure you she's talking about a different place.
It's still good.
No, sure, your place might be good. It's fine. I've never been there. The point is, tweet at us. I'll text you some, depending on cuisine. So the point is you can find almost any cuisine here. I don't want to say every cuisine,
I would say though you'd be
be
hard pressed to find to not find what you're looking for.
It's not necessarily 100% authentic in terms of, oh my god, this is like the homeland and shit. But it is damn close for a place in America, let's put it that way. So because this is where immigrants come, right?
Yeah.
So
and then they create restaurants, and I love that spot.
I used to skate there. That exact spot there.
If you're watching the YouTube video right now,
God. I almost did an ollie after that. But anyways.
Anyway.
So there's foods everywhere.
Sorry.
So what I'm saying is, there's so many small places in the city that are owned by that are only known
like
by word of mouth, so I think your greatest ally is to talk to natives in the city, and who know where. I mean,
so
obviously you can't know
where tangent.
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. What is it?
At what point do you consider someone a native?
Until they can tell me a place that I haven't heard of. Yeah.
Okay.
You're a native.
Okay.
But
not to interrupt you. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
at
that
just
point,
an
you're a
interesting
native.
point
I don't care
of
if you're a native or not. I don't care if you're
acquire New Yorker status, right?
And that's a big thing, right? So people will talk to you and they might get. I mean, I don't think so. I think New York is a very inviting city, despite what you might hear.
Yeah.
I think this is a very inviting city. We want people to come. We love. In fact, that's entirely what this city was founded on, and come America.
Visit.
Period.
Yeah.
So,
come here.
Come
tell us
visit
your
this fucking
story.
country,
Show us your shit.
Yeah, so,
give us your food. Give us your food.
Give us everything.
We want your food.
I've had everything from tacos to samosas to all that sort of stuff. So to
if you haven't
really
had Ethiopian food
Chinese
though, you need to have Ethiopian
and
food.
I'm Chinese. My mom is Chinese, and we've found very authentic Chinese places in the city.
I'm not Chinese,
and it really helps to speak a different language.
It does.
Also,
so Mona hooks us up when we go to Chinatown, or we try to have places with authentic dim sum. Like, Mona knows what's up.
But you can also get that sort of stuff. But I mean, that's not what I want. I mean, okay.
The
it's
food
all here.
is a big
Whatever.
part of
It's
New
all
York.
here. Doesn't matter. It's all here. What are we trying to say here? Right?
Well, the experience of someone who's grown up here versus someone who chose to move back here.
Let's talk about my
in the
experience.
city.
Yeah, so this might be a longer podcast. If that's what you're into, keep listening. If
Otherwise,
not, keep listening.
keep listening.
But so
Modelo.
my experience growing up here, and I have lived in all the important boroughs anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bronx. And
Sorry, Staten
I
Island.
no,
Sorry,
no, I'm
Bronx.
not sorry about the Staten Island.
No, sorry,
I
Bronx. The
fucking
Bronx
hate
is
that place.
actually legit.
The Bronx is fine. So, growing up in the city, I've had plenty of experiences. I don't know if I've told any of the crazy stories. I think I've told some of the crazy stories. A lot of shit happens. This is a weird city. There's always some weird
Stuff
person on the street. You will always meet some really interesting character who's been here maybe longer than you.
Even
right?
not growing up here, you still meet these people and you still have these experiences.
No, absolutely. But, right. So I've just been here longer, so
Exactly.
I've
He's got
experienced more.
4 or 5, 6 times the amount of time I
But growing
have
up,
here.
the most important thing is diversity. So I think a lot of people don't, maybe in America, don't necessarily experience a lot of diversity in terms of ethnicity and that
You
sort
don't
of
get that
shit.
in Florida. Like, I didn't have friends who wore,
burqas or
burqas
that
or
sort of
full-on
stuff.
hijabs or anything like that. Like, that was not a thing
Right,
that
right.
happened in Florida.
Right, and I do.
Right.
I have met, in fact, some of my students wear a lot of headscarves and that
Exactly,
sort of
and
stuff. But
it's just a matter of
it's
like
just
understanding
how
that
it
where
is.
we like Hunter. I go
And
to
that's
my
amazing.
master's at Hunter, and there is a huge Muslim population at Hunter, and I was like, that's awesome because in Florida, I didn't get that experience. I didn't get to interact with people who really were that different from me.
Yeah, but
And it's nice to like just meet people who aren't the same as you.
so growing up in New York City is different in terms. I mean, you won't experience this because maybe you're already grown up.
Yeah, you've
But
grown.
you've already not gone to school. You've already gone to school.
You're done.
Yeah, so
Congrats.
going to school here, I did actually. So my experience might be unique, and also specifically because I lived through 9/11, and
He had a
and I was
very
like,
different
okay,
childhood.
Yeah, I might have the most different childhood in terms of Americans. I was literally 2 blocks. I didn't want to bring this up, but 2 blocks away from 9/11 when it happened, and I was literally there. So, but I don't think. And sure, that was a huge event in my life, and in many Americans' lives, and people all around the world even. Huge event in their lives. But so I was there. It happened. But basically, going to school in New York City is very different. You get a huge selection of children from all different ethnicities and that sort of nonsense. So one of my best friends in elementary school was Korean, and I remember when he joined our school in 4th grade, and he didn't even speak English. He barely spoke English, but somehow he fucking made it. I don't even know. That would have been the craziest thing to him. Yeah.
ESOL classes are dope.
I don't think he took any of that, but
I'm
maybe on the side,
100% sure he was in ESOL.
Yeah, so good
You
for
don't-
him. And of course, having me as a friend, they probably like, all right, get that kid in here. He can teach you English and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I probably taught him a lot of English. I didn't
Why
even know.
wouldn't you have? Yeah.
Oh,
he
I didn't even mean to, but I
But
guess
that
I
doesn't
did
matter
by
when
association.
when you're younger. Languages are a lot easier
Yeah,
to pick
it's
up.
great. So yeah, I wish I'd pick up any Korean. But so I met a lot of different people, and most of which are still my friends today. And so I guess it's obviously the same. It's not the same, but it's the same in terms you make friends the same ways.
Right.
It's the same
but
shit.
what I would say, as someone who doesn't have as many friends for the same amount of time, it's hard when you grow up and you move and you change school districts and stuff.
You were moving. So
Exactly,
it's
but
different.
even in Florida, like, I only have, like, 3 friends who were really been there the whole time I was growing up, whereas
Yeah.
you have, like, even though you guys changed districts and changed schools and stuff, like, you managed to stay in contact.
Well, it's a lot easier to stay in contact in the
because
city.
you're in less square mileage.
Right.
Like, you're so
yeah,
close
we were
to
all
each
super
other.
close to each other.
Exactly.
So we had our parents were scrambling to get rid of us. So we were all having play dates every now and
Get
then.
to Andrew's house. Get out of our
Yeah,
house.
or rather,
Go play with Sienna. I don't want to deal with you right now.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so I hung out with my friends all the time. It was super easy. By the time I didn't have a cell phone until middle school, of course, but
Right.
I
Were
mean,
you like 12,
I know that's
13?
different for children now. So yeah.
Because I was gonna say, so I was 14 when I had a cell
Right.
phone, and you're a little bit younger, so.
I mean, that's not
Yeah.
any different. The difference is in terms of schooling is you're going to different schools every year. Not every year, but every
few years.
Elementary, middle, and high school are all different, and then
American
actually
school systems.
applying to high school is
A thing that you do here. I didn't do that.
Sorry, yeah, it's akin to applying to college in New York City, so it's very competitive.
That's super weird.
And actually, you'll probably see the disparity in education. If you want to listen to Yvonne and I's conversation on education in America, go check that out.
That's a
It's
good
in
podcast. That's a really good one.
In our nonsense feed or whatever. But yeah, so it's on SoundCloud or
But
iTunes.
in Florida, you don't have that. In Florida, it's where you're zoned.
Yeah, right.
So where I went was where I was zoned to go, and there was no question
and so
about it.
it's zoned in New York City
But there's still
similarly,
applications.
but there for a high school there are what's so quote unquote specialized high schools, which are for
Fancy
people who
kids.
want to the fancy smart kids. There's the art kids. They go to the LaGuardia High School of Art and that sort of stuff.
Is that where Ben went?
Yeah, that's where some of my friends went, and that's generally pretty awesome for them if they want to express themselves, but ever want to be an artist in New York City. That's cool. But yeah, so that's sort of education growing up. But growing up in New York City is obviously a very urban place, so I picked up skateboarding. It was a really cool thing for me to do.
You were
it was
in
a really
a lot of stuff. You liked art. You liked skateboarding.
I mean, yeah. So
you-
I had a lot of artist friends, luckily, and so they always invited me to parties. So partying in New York City is a real big thing. But it might be it's actually 100% different.
One of the first parties Julien ever took me to was on the Manhattan Bridge, and that blew
that
my
was pretty sick,
fucking
right?
mind.
And that's why you're dating me, right? Let's go. But yeah, so
I couldn't
that's exactly why I invited
process
you.
that. I was like,
So,
oh my god, in
right.
Florida this would never happen.
Right, so in New York City, we have really cool parties and shit, but you have to talk to people in order to get to them.
Yeah, you have to make friends.
So obviously,
Make friends.
yeah, making friends in New York City is really awesome. If you have a friend, visit them. They will take you to parties,
Yeah,
hopefully.
we'll bring you places.
Because going to the bars is one thing.
Sure.
And sure, there are a lot of cool bars in the city. I've found a couple of them.
He knows some good places.
But knowing, I think the best thing to know is an artist friend, because you'll get into a lot of events and things.
Like the time we went to all those gallery things, it was a
No,
great
absolutely,
time.
yeah. Oh, I guess, yeah, this is something you might not know about. I probably shouldn't be blowing this shit up, but...
No, don't
And
don't
this
mention
is the thing,
locations.
you don't want to blow this up. You don't want to blow things up in New York
Right, because
City.
it ruins
You want to
it.
keep it on the DL, the down
But
low,
there's a lot
right?
of really cool stuff that
But
you could end up going to.
There's
that
literally
you didn't
always
know.
something going on. I think the best, two of the best descriptors in terms of TV shows of New York City that encapsulated the city in one episode, where there was Louis, the TV show, Louis C.K., he made a TV show. One of the episodes, I can't remember the name of, he has a dream, but it's not really, it's sort of like a dream sequence where he has the garbage people. So we have a bunch of the garbage men.
They're a huge part of the city, and you want them to keep working. Sanitation, God bless you.
Sorry.
You guys are amazing, and we love you.
They get paid well, but they're really loud in the morning, and they're trying to throw the garbage in the thing, whatever, in the truck. And so they're picking it up and all that stuff. And so one of the episodes, he has a dream sequence where the garbage man breaks through his wall and starts jumping on him and throwing trash on him. That totally is how I feel when the garbage man wakes me up.
It's true. Tomorrow morning when the garbage men come through.
The second episode I'm talking about is on Aziz Ansari, so two comedians, because comedians think about the world in a different way.
Aziz is dope.
Aziz Ansari made the show Master of None. Season 2, I think, has an episode called I Love New York, maybe? Mm-hmm. I think that episode really encapsulated New York in 30 minutes. If you want to learn about New York in 30 minutes, watch that show.
Right.
Watch that specific episode. So the end of that episode was really great. So the cool thing about that, I guess, spoiler alert.
Sorry, if you haven't watched, mute now.
No, watch that episode. It's cool. So it has an ending where 4 African guys who are taxi drivers go into they're driving around. I think they were in a some store that was closing, and they ended up having a mini party where someone
they were in a restaurant. One of the guys works in a restaurant, and they were closed, and the 2 roommates banged on the window, and the girls who wanted fries got in because of
and one of them had a flask or something, and that's the sort of shit
they were just
that you
drinking
run into
and having
in
a
the
good
city.
time, and then
it's just people, everyone in this city, all the young people in the city are trying to have a good time, and I think personally, I mean, it's great to go to a bar. Some bars are really cool in the city. Try to avoid that, I think. And try to meet someone who's gonna if you have no one to hang out with, maybe go to the bars, whatever. But if you have friends, try to hang out with them. Try to do what the locals do, because we try to have parties at someone's apartment or something, and a lot of fun stuff goes down there.
Right.
And for instance, my friends are artists. I'm very lucky, and thank you
so cool.
guys. Thanks for inviting me or whatever. But yeah, they invite me to all their shows and things like that. They'll show their art, and there's so much art going on in the city, and it's fucking amazing. Some of them will invite me to maybe like a show that they're putting on in terms of acting and things like that. And you invited me plenty of your improv comedy shows. So it really helps in this city to be not shy, even though I'm actually a very shy person.
He's a very shy person.
So maybe don't follow what I just said. Just make sure you talk to people and just be nice to people. That's the biggest thing.
I think one of the things that's really interesting is when I first met Julien, I was like, oh my god, this kid doesn't talk.
He's so quiet as fuck, but he's got all the friends.
Exactly. And then as I got to know him, I realized I'm like, oh my god, he has so many friends. And once you get to know him, it's just personality. I guess,
so I mean, I'm not so meeting new people, I'm not like
he's
very vocal or anything.
Yeah, he just kind of keeps to himself.
But for some reason,
but he's not standoffish.
People like me. I don't know. Maybe you like me. Subscribe to my channel. Anyways, but yeah, so it's really, you don't want to. It's a really fine line to walk, because New Yorkers are fickle.
We are really
fickle. They're fickle people, so you can offend them 1 second, you can be their best friend the other second.
And I think that's a good way to talk about it.
Once you're their best friend, you're their best friend for life, you know? So New Yorkers are loyal, I think, but of course there are 8 million people in this city.
Exactly.
So
you're gonna encounter everything. You're gonna have the people who want zero to do with you, and you're gonna have the people who will take you in and bring you on their night with them.
I can tell you plenty of stories, but we go on too long.
Exactly.
But,
it's all about how you play the city.
So if you ever want to hear any of that, tell us in the comment section below. I'll definitely.
That's
maybe
something that all of us can talk about. You, me, Yvonne, we could all talk about that.
Yeah, a future podcast we can go on that. But I think I want to hammer down into this is. I think I've been to a lot of cities on this planet, in the world, and
New York's special.
New York is a really special city. I don't think any other city is as diverse, honestly.
They're not gonna hold a candle.
In terms of food,
I've been to San Fran. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Tampa. I've been to a lot of places.
Well, that's just America. I'm talking about the world, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got that world experience. I don't.
Yeah, right. No offense, but I'm talking about like Hong Kong is really great if you want Chinese food or the Chinese experience. I know it's Asia's world city, but it's nothing like New York City.
No.
So the only other thing I guess I want to bring up as a cursory look over New York City is the weather. So being on the northeast of America has literally every climate that you can imagine.
You want that fall? We got that fall. You want that winter?
Except for
that winter.
maybe Florida heat or Hong Kong.
You're not gonna get that Florida summer here.
Yeah.
But if you come in the beginning of August, end of July, you're gonna get a beautiful summer.
Yeah, so
It'll be
New
hot
York
and
City
humid and slap you in the face.
ranges from blizzards in the winter to
heat waves in the summer.
Heat waves in the summer.
Gotta love that blackout.
And it's a humid, being on the northeast coast of America, it's a humid place. It gets humid during the summer, but not Florida humid.
Best
or Hong
season
Kong
to come
humid,
visit,
or
though?
India humid, or something like that. I think summer is the best season regardless.
I would say I disagree. I would say early fall. If you want to hit that beautiful northeastern weather, you want that idyllic view.
Right. So
you want to walk through Central Park when the leaves are turning and you see the beautiful buildings. Oh, baby, hit it in October.
Yeah. Yeah,
hit
it's
that
nice,
early October. It'll break your heart.
But a lot of parties go on, and drinking if you're into that sort of thing, or just having a good time goes on, or grilling maybe goes on during the summertime at night on rooftops.
Roof grilling. You want to see some roof grilling? Hit up our Instagrams.
Obviously, New York City has many skyscrapers, some of the tallest buildings in the world. And a lot of people go on those roofs and have some beers. There are a lot of bars that happen on the rooftops, and there are a lot of people love to party on the roofs. So that's actually the primary space that people, outdoor space, in terms of outdoor space that people have, is their rooftops. And so as a consequence, you get a lot of great views of New York City and that sort of stuff. So I think that's something to dive home in on, is hang out on the roofs, even in the wintertime.
If you can get on a roof in New York, it's going to break your fucking heart. It's going to be emotional.
No matter where you are.
It's beautiful. Actually. Everywhere you are, it's beautiful. Like, our view is of a train, but it's still one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
It's cute.
It's so good.
We got a tree in the back and a tree in the front.
So the moral of the story here is, whether or not you've lived here your whole life or you just moved here, get the fuck on a roof.
I think a lot of...
Eat some food. Get on a roof.
Yeah, a lot of the fun in the city that I've had has been on a rooftop. Yeah. So I would say,
get on a roof.
If you can meet anyone or go to a rooftop bar, get on that roof.
Get on that roof.
So it's really important.
New York,
and also,
get on that roof.
Also, what else? So
those roofs right there. If you're on YouTube and you're watching those roofs, get on those roofs right there.
Aside from that, I guess, I can't really speak to this, but fashion is really important.
Oh yeah, I actually used to work right next to where they held Fashion Week. It's really interesting to watch happen. Fashion is a really important part of New York. I've never fell victim to that because I don't make that kind of salary, so I can't really care. But yeah, if you're into that, like, fashion is a huge part, art is a huge part, creating. If you're here and you're creating something, you're going to feel like you're a part of New York.
But yeah, the typical attire in New York in terms of color is black. Yeah, that's
dark
not
colors.
a joke.
I've literally been stopped
colors,
multiple times by somebody going, "You're wearing all black, you live here, right?" And I'm like, sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah. So, I guess we can visit on a different...
we can come back to this.
We can come back to the
topic. You tell us what you want to hear about New York,
New York
and
City
we can
can't
talk
be
about
covered in...
No, it's too much.
In just an hour and a half, or a little less than an hour and a half.
We should probably wrap this up.
I don't want to keep too... We try to respect your time at the Hungover Gaming channel and the Hungover Podcast, because... you gotta watch other videos and shit like that and go about your day.
The internet is
But
vast.
if you're a commuter, perhaps in New York City, maybe this is helpful for you because you're on the train still. Not
Hit
this
us
particular podcast, but
watch our videos, follow us on our socials, let us know what you want to see.
Yeah, and we didn't even cover tourist attractions or anything.
Oh, no, that'll be another one.
Because that's not... you know about that shit. But anyways, yeah, follow us on Twitter at Hungover Gaming.
Yeah.
Follow Nikki if you want to talk to her.
It'll all be downstairs.
Or that sort of stuff.
And whatever that YouTube
Yeah, it's in the
link
description. All that stuff. And thanks so much for coming out, guys. Do we have a song?
You want a song?
Yeah, we need a song.
Can I give you a generic song? We're going to go with some Kesha, because that's what I've been listening to.
We can't play Kesha.
No.
Sorry, we can't play Kesha.
You're
listen
gonna
to Kesha.
listen to
definitely.
Kesha on your own.
No. We need a song that we can play. Though.
A song that they can play
For the people, because
for the people.
for the people. All right.
Um.
What's a Sonic song you like?
Just the generic Sonic music is fine with
The
me.
generic. Oh
Generic
my God.
Sonic
Okay, I'll
music.
play Green Zone. Sorry. Do you even know the names of the? Okay, welcome to Hungover Radio. The
Where
song.
Julien judges his girlfriend.
I'm sorry.
Much to the
Do you know the
dismay.
names of the songs?
No,
you
why
love
not?
that game.
I
You should
grew
know
up in
names
the
of songs.
90s. No one was telling me the names of those songs.
I think they had the names of the songs because it was called Green Zone and then Casino Zone and Welcome to. Well, anyways, Hungover Radio.
Hungover Radio, where Julien
the
judges
we
his
always
guests.
end this podcast in a section, in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. If you'd like to send your music in, which you absolutely can, and we will play it
Give
in
us
the
your
next
stuff.
one.
Are you making music?
Yeah,
Give
are
me
you
your
making music? We will put it in
Give
the
it to us.
audio portion of this podcast,
Full credit,
just
of
to
course.
avoid
Copyrights.
copyrights and that sort of
It's
stuff.
your music.
So
We're
if
just
you're
playing
looking
it.
for the Hungover Radio song, I will put the link in the description below if you're watching the video. But if you're not and you're listening to it, it will come up soon. But you can send us your song via MP3 link to gaminghungover@gmail.com. And hopefully you played a segment of it via instrument or sang or produced, or your friend, even your friends could have done any of that sort of stuff. That would be really cool. It's basically free advertisement for you guys. Today we're going to be playing Green Hill Zone, which I just sort of made up. I'm not sure that's the name of it, but I'll be playing it. It's from Sonic 1.
Julien got mad at me
2,
for not knowing
3.
the name of music from video games that I played as a child.
It's Green Hill Zone, all right? Because Sonic Mania actually comes out this week. Actually came out 2 weeks. It came out on the 15th. We're super hyped for Sonic Mania. Go check that.
They pushed it back.
They didn't push it back. It's coming out the 15th. It's coming out the 15th of August. I assure you.
I
So,
just saw a fucking tweet about it coming out on the 20th because they pushed
Bullshit.
it back.
Sonic. Sonic, don't fail me, Sega.
Sega, who's your girl?
Don't fail me. No, it's coming out the 15th.
I saw a pushback date.
All right. Official.
Delayed at the last minute. But it's good news.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself. I really wanted that game this week. Delayed to what?
August 20-something.
We'll still have an August 15th release date. It's the official, whatever. It doesn't matter. The game is coming out the 15th. It already came out. Whatever. So if it came out, if you're listening to this right now, we're playing Green Hill Zone. We're hype about Sonic Mania. It's happening. Go check that out on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox
game
One.
will happen in
Please.
game because
It'll
I will
happen.
get frustrated
We're
with
gonna play this
Julien.
shit on the Drunk Play Fridays, which comes out every
All right,
Friday.
we gotta wrap this up.
And we're gonna wrap it up. Sorry for going on too long. We love you guys.
You guys are great.
Enjoy the song.
Follow us on all the socials.
So.
Tell us what you want to hear.